Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to go over the strikers, the Rune Synergy strikers, which is one of the worst rune synergies after enchanters in my opinion. So it's a synergy that mostly never gets played like at all. So these are all the striker heroes that currently exist in the game, and the majority of them are not used because primarily their rune synergy sucks. So for example, Hecate would be a hero that is actually really good, but her rune synergy is so bad that she really is hard to fit in Avengers. Albeit you can fit her, but losing out on the Monarchs or Phantoms, whichever version of Avengers you are seeing, is absolutely feels bad pretty much. So that's why most of them are kept on being benched and not used, despite being good heroes. Same example goes for Mulan, although Mulan, I would argue, is used more than the Hecate herself. I could also argue that Seraphina and Lysandra could be used far more if they were monarchs or protectors even than in their current state of being strikers. On top of that, the issue comes with the striker synergy itself. It's pretty outdated, so the attack increase 35% every round is pretty minimal when we compare that Lucifer alone increases the attack by 50% or something, Hela by 120% with her legendary runes. Then we have Dahlia to double that, and basically the 35% at 5 strikers is pretty low, especially it's really not justified at even 2 strikers to be used. The only condition when you can use a Fate hero as a striker is on these heroes that share their stats or share their attack to the ally team, and you're in some kind of PvE, so you can actually use 2 strikers to give Hela or Cleopatra or Lucifer more attack to share to the team. This isn't the case for Victoria, but yeah, that's the only case where you can use Fate heroes as strikers. And the most striking team that you would use being run is like something similar to this, but even this feels pretty criminal. So that's the issue with strikers. Their rune synergy is just simply weak. They get one shot compared to monarchs and phantoms. Phantoms just get the back up. Protectors at least have a chance to hit back, whereas strikers simply do nothing. The attack increase is so bad that it's really irrelevant. So now that being left out and said, these are the best strikers in the striker synergy. So these heroes are the heroes that you will be using from early to mid game to even late game. Mulan, despite being a striker, she can still feed the Monarch Mystifiers, so despite that, she's still pretty good, so you would end up using her with Ashrid, Dullahan, Talos, Mulan, and then very likely Lucifer. That was this team before I changed it. So she can still fit in, and she basically is still great because she does the extra follow-ups on the extra actions, and there's a lot of additional actions, so Mulan just keeps on following, applying the corrode, applying the burst, dealing damage, etc, etc. So she's still kind of good unit despite having the worst rune synergy. Ra also, like, she's meant to take damage for the team, she's meant to be a tank, yet she has the striker effect, but her being a monarch or phantom would suit her so much. So the general issue is the striker's synergy just has to be adjusted and changed, because attack in the meta where so much attack increase already exists is so useless. Just a relic, basically any relic nowadays increases the attack by 50% when it's cast, so yeah, the striker's rune synergy just needs to be adjusted, changed, or completely reworked. It doesn't really matter. So Regen Ayushta is the best striker hero in my opinion. Additional actions, additional damage, and being +2 dooms on top of her amazing exclusive legendary runes just makes her the best striker in the game, and she will be forever used in my opinion despite being a weak synergy, unlike Arthur, because Arthur's kit is somewhat far weaker than Ayushta's. So that's why she's the best, and Arthur is strong in condition when you need someone to reflect the debuffs, although even then he's pretty mid. But keep in mind I'm talking about this in the late game, so Arthur is still pretty solid hero and usable for majority of the accounts. Even for me he's usable. Same goes for Lilith. Lilith is pretty amazing as a 5th ethereal filler, but her striker synergy really does take a toll on her. Otherwise she'll be run far more in my opinion. Tsuki doesn't really care. she will be run irrelevant of her rune synergy. So I think her being a striker actually suits her. So despite having a kid that increases your team's attack and then getting attack from the striker is pretty irrelevant, but I don't know what the thought process was behind it, but still I don't think her being a striker really hurts her kid at all. And I would argue the same goes for the Shang. I think Shang will be played irrelevant whether she was a striker or not. So I don't think these two heroes really suffer from being a striker as much as Arthur or Lilith or majority of these heroes right here suffer from it. So these heroes are still very good, very strong, very usable despite being a striker. So their entire kit just carry them through the bad rune synergy. The strong buffers are the heroes you will primarily use in PvE. Seraphina has a conditional usage, so I would actually argue I would put her here. You can use her because of her epic exclusive runes, disable the enemy shields, or rather give your allies ability to basically ignore enemy shields. So this is pretty good against Venus. And she's also a Glorian, so she can feed the Ethereals quite easily. Catherine is pretty useless nowadays, but she can still be feed instead of Mulan, but you can kind of use them together as well. But it's not really recommended because just having two strikers already is overkilling it in a single team, in my opinion. Keep in mind, this team is not a good team. This is not a good example. It was just an example of how you could occasionally see three strikers, and it was from my side mostly like team similar to this. Other times I used to do Lilith in here as well, or sometimes even Ra, but this was the most common three striker team that I used to run in the past. Atropos is still the queen of PvE. She doesn't really hate the strikers, so she's kind of good with them even, so I would say this is a good striker hero. She's not good in PvP, she will never be because of her kit, and yeah, just because of that, the striker synergy really suits her, so I'm not going to say anything bad about this. Atropos is the queen of PvE and forever will be pretty much. Irrelevant which stage of PvE you are at, you can always find a slot to put Atropos in. Then we have the solid early to mid game heroes. So these heroes, as I said, they mostly suffer from being a striker. They are occasion heroes. They could be used in the meta even late game, but if they had correct rune synergy, note I'm saying correct as in viable, not really as in viable rune synergy, because striker really isn't cutting it, because the meta is dominated by monarchs, then phantoms, and then protectors mainly. So that's why these heroes really do struggle to find a slot. And then we have the outdated / useless heroes, so these heroes will probably never be in the meta ever again, despite being one of the best heroes in the game at Season 4 to Season 5 like Selene. Ra, Gloria, and Hecate you can still fit in quite easily because of their primary synergy, especially Gloria and her legendary runes, but that's quite expensive and really expensive for what you want to use her. She was quite good, but nowadays she will probably be replaced, and already is for me, but for majority of the players she will be replaced quite easily because of the how many new heroes we are getting, especially the ones that bring +2 gloriancy in the season. Doris, I do believe Doris is still good, so I'm going to move her actually here, so strong in condition. I believe that her unique legendary runes are carrying her so hard, and she's still really strong, don't get me wrong, despite having the worst rune synergy. Navi is also pretty usable, you can still use her. Christine, I'm going to put as last, or rather I will put Nyx as last. Lysandra is pretty solid, but she's being held by being a striker again, so same goes for Hecate. As I said, it's pretty repetitive, but yeah, all of these heroes would be far better if they were anything but striker. So I believe that strikers should be reworked and should be buffed in some sort of way. Just having attack increase is pretty terrible because of the meta we're in. So I hope they do adjust it, but I don't think it will happen, unfortunately. So yeah, that was it for the strikers. So these are the best strikers. These are the strong in condition strikers, and strikers you will probably use because you're not at the stage of the game where I am. And you will very likely also use some of these heroes, especially like Ra and Hecate and Gloria. So yeah, this Lysandra is, sorry Misty, but she's not good. However, feel free to use her. I'm not here to judge anyone using any heroes. This is a game made primarily for fun, so just go ahead and have fun. Use the heroes you want to use. I'm just trying to be educational. I'm not trying to be limiting on what you want to use. Just, even if you want, you can use Christine. Feel free to do it. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one.